I'm the Pink Dalmatian Scrapbooker, and today I'm going to show you how I make these three-dimensional roses using the Close to My Heart Art Philosophy Cricut cartridge. I've made several different sizes, and I was actually able to use my Gypsy and cut out about 5 on a page. This larger one is 5 inches, and that's going to end up being this size right here. This one is not quite 3.5, and then this one is about 2 1/4. So it goes down pretty small. I was able to put 5 on here. There's 2 of the smaller sizes that I haven't popped out yet. And I'm using the Roxy paper from Close to My Heart. It is 2-sided paper, and I do recommend that for making these flowers because both sides are going to show up. The inside more than the outside, but you definitely, I think it's going to look better than just white on one of the sides. So I did ink my edges because the edges show up quite a bit. So I'm just using the Close to My Heart Tulip ink pad to ink the edges. It matches this one, it coordinates with this set. And I just use my little sponge, and I ink the edges while it's still flat. That's the easiest way to do it. And so just use a coordinating color with your roses after you cut them out. And this one, the Art Philosophy cartridge has different dimensional flowers that you can cut out. I like this one the best because it ends up looking more like rose petals to me. So I use this cut. I do ink all my edges like I said. And here's one of the bigger ones. So I'm going to roll it up. I use a little stylus, and you want to get the center as tight as possible when you start rolling it up. Keep in mind that the main color of your rose is going to be actually the color that you roll up on the inside is what's going to show up the most. So I want my zebra print right here to be my flower. So I'm just going to start twisting it around my stylus. And I know they make special tools to do this, but I found that my stylus works just fine. You do want to get the center as tight as possible, and then just try and keep the whole flower rolled up around that. And it will get to a point where you just take your stylus out and just start rolling. And I try and keep the base of each of the petals kind of as a guide and try and stay even right there on that. Oops. Let's pull that out. And I'll just keep rolling it all the way around. This will take just a second. I want to show you what happens when you get to the end of the flower. So there's a few more petals right here, and then there's this round area. So you don't need to worry about rolling it up. You just let go of the flower, and that main part right here is what is going to be the base of your flower. So you can leave it tight if you'd like, or you can kind of fluff it out a little bit. Try and keep the center still tight because the tighter that is, it looks really good, more like a real rose. And then once you kind of have the rose the way you want it, then I just take some hot glue, put it all right in there, and then press the whole thing down. Sometimes you have to do it a couple times, and you just push it all down, hold it for a few seconds, and let it dry. And this is what you end up with. So this one's been hot glued down, and you can still see these flowers. It's okay that they aren't rolled up as tight as these. And the next step I do is I take my water bottle, my little sprayer, and you're just going to spray the petals. Then I take my stylus again, because I want that round edge, and I start at the bottom petal, and these ones are the easiest to work with, and you just bend them. I use my stylus to kind of get some pressure in the center right there, and then my thumb to bend it down. These ones you can play with a little bit and manipulate them so they look more like actual flower petals. And you just want to bend them over, and you start working your way around the flower. And if they aren't bending enough, you can spray them again. And the nice thing about using the water is that when it dries, then your paper is gonna stay that way. So it's a pretty neat tool to have on hand in your scrapbook room. And as you get up to the higher petals, of course those aren't going to bend over as much, so sometimes all you can do is just take the top of the petal and bend it over. You do need to be very careful that you don't rip the paper, which can be easy to do if you're bending it. And sometimes it's okay, it doesn't look too bad. So you just work in as far as you can. Sometimes I just take my stylus to bend that over, and you just keep playing with it until you're happy with how it looks. It is still going to stay very, very dimensional. So the bigger ones would be hard to put on a scrapbook page, at least the kind of books I use anyways. But they look good on a frame or on a card. And then there's the flower. And if you just let it dry, then the paper's going to stay like this, and it'll get pretty hard, so you don't have to worry about it uncurling or anything like that. If you like it just with this look, especially if you make the centers nice and tight, then they look great just that way. Or you can finish them off by adding some things to them. These ones I added the Mocha Opaques from Close to My Heart. I put those in some of the centers. I've also put glitter in some of the centers. There's several different products that you could put in there. So I hope you enjoyed the tutorial and that helps you make those flowers. If you'd like to order the Art Philosophy cartridge, you can do so on my website. You can go to my blog, which is www.pinkdalmatianscrapper.blogspot.com.